Welcome! If you're a woman who has a sense that there's more out there for you, you're in the right place. I'm Whitney Baker, host of the Electric Ideas podcast. Somewhere along the line of work and kids, life carried on, but I lost track of my truth. I'm on a reflective journey, and that's what this podcast is all about. Each week, I interview a woman who is lighting her own path and offering others hope. Before our conversation ends, we'll share a reflective question for you to explore. Sometimes all we need is a jolt, a fresh idea, an aha moment that connects us to a sense of possibility. This, my friends, is what I call an electric idea. Welcome back to Electric Ideas. I'm your host, Whitney Baker, and this is a mini-jolt episode, a quick spark of inspiration to bring a greater sense of possibility and joy into your life. Today's episode is all about inviting you to reconnect with something that often fades as we grow older, your playful inner child, and remembering the art of how to play as an adult. In my Season to Shift 6-week mastermind program that I teach once or twice a year, I always dedicate an entire week to play and rediscovering your lighter side, because I've witnessed how challenging this is for many women to do, but also how powerful it can be for our well-being when we make play an intentional practice. As adults, it's so easy to get bogged down with never-ending to-do lists, caring for others, and the weight of responsibilities. And I want to start by painting a picture of contrast to those emotions with this vision of remembering when my kids were little and taking them to the playground. Once unhooked, they'd burst out of the stroller and dive right into play without a care in the world. They'd just drop in and be excited and energetically present. As adults, for many of us, it's rare to feel that freedom anymore. And I think it's something our souls crave. And while feelings of lightness or your ability to be fancy-free might not be as easy to tap into as an adult, I do believe regardless of your disposition or conditioning in adulthood, it's something we can all intentionally choose to cultivate more of in our life. So today we are going to explore why that matters and how to go about it. So why does play matter for adults? Well, research shows that play for adults is not just about having a fun time. Play actually releases dopamine, a key feel-good hormone. It reduces stress, and it even improves brain function. And I can also share anecdotally that from years of working with adult women, many of them report feeling like their adult life feels like a cadence of the mundane. Go to work, come home, manage household, exhausted at night, try to sleep, repeat. I understand and recognize that you're likely carrying a lot mentally and emotionally, especially if you're a caregiver. But one thing that really sticks out to me in the research on play is this quote from Dr. Stuart Brown. He's kind of a pioneer in the study of play. And he says the opposite of play is not work, it's depression. So yes, life for many of us is full. Life can be challenging with lots to navigate as adults. But we in the Electric Ideas community choose to be active participants in our lives and to lead well-examined lives. A lot of what the research shows is that when we put play and joy on the back burner as nice to haves in our adult lives, we miss out on huge opportunities to reduce stress. This is an idea that neuroscientist Jaak Panksepp talks a lot about. His science not only backs up the idea that adults are likely to release positive neurochemicals when they allow themselves playtime, as mentioned, but also that play for adults helps build emotional resilience and adaptability. Panksepp says, quote, "Play is a major source of joy, and adults often deny themselves this gift," unquote. So it's clear that by giving ourselves permission to play as adults, that we're investing in our mental and emotional well-being. So how can we bring this playful, more childlike side of ourselves to light, even amidst the chaos of adulthood? Number one is we can connect to novel experiences without the need to produce a certain outcome or be perfect at something. Play is just that. We're supposed to loosen up and relax and let go of perfectionism. When you think about younger kids, whether you put chalk out, pile of art supplies, or a ball in the yard, they don't need to be good at play. They just dive in and they create and they explore because it's fun. And that's all it needs to be. Yet as adults, we often get caught up in this idea of outcomes and achievements. I'll give you a recent example of when I needed to challenge my own narrative on this. I thought it would be fun when we were visiting my mom recently with the girls. I signed us up for this class. My mom, my daughters, and I were going to plant succulents in clay pots and then paint the pots. My mom and I both have plenty of creative flair for certain things, but I can't say either of us has a natural inclination for painting. So we go to this class, and my mom and I both really had to just decide that we were there to hang out and spend time and use our hands and connect with my daughters and enjoy the process, knowing that I could care less what my painted pot ultimately looked like in the end. So as you look to connect to novel experiences, just remember it's about being playful in the process and not winning the game or creating a masterpiece. I want to share a small nuance here too, because in my work with women, I've noticed a lot of self-judgment and shame come up when women perhaps used to do something regularly and be really good at it. And maybe it's something playful and they just haven't made time for that in their adult lives because let's face it, it's full. We're all under a lot of demands. Sometimes it's almost easier to do something that you've never done and you don't have any expectation of being good at. If that sounds like you, just know that if this isn't your season to joyfully reconnect with that hobby or creative outlet, that's okay. Sometimes it's easier to be playful when we do something that we don't even expect ourselves to be good at. I really appreciate Dr. Brené Brown's take on giving ourselves space to be imperfect. She says unused creativity is not benign. It metastasizes. So next time you are in a stressful cycle of life, perhaps feeling a little down, like you're not living fully or fully expressed, consider looking for a novel way to open up to play and creativity. And don't forget to check your inner critic or perfectionist tendencies at the door. The next point I want to make about play is that play beautifully supports us in our ability to drop into the present moment. Again, think about how children are just fully absorbed in their play. They don't worry about the past or the future. They are just there, completely engaged in the now. I know from experience that that is a feeling many women want to have in their lives, but it just doesn't naturally happen for them anymore. We live in such a bombarded, distracted world. And sometimes for women, trying to plan something fun just seems like another to do. Here's a solution that I work on sometimes with clients. Put time on your calendar for planned spontaneity. This might even look like half an hour during the week where you can give yourself some wiggle room to, again, not have to produce or get something done or move the ball forward or coordinate a carpool or plan dinner, but also where you're not locked into any plans. And all you need to do is when this time comes, give yourself a chance to answer the question, what sounds fun? I've seen this super simple practice help some of my clients who are craving more moments of lightheartedness and play amidst their serious responsibilities. And a pattern I've put together is I think a lot of women often grieve a sense of freedom, of feeling burden-free in their lives after becoming adults and especially caregivers. And by setting aside a time and putting a stake in the ground that we believe in our well-being and that we're going to give ourselves permission to be silly and spontaneous for even short amounts of time is half the battle. We get so heads down, keeping everything on track for our lives and our families' lives and our communities' lives. All of that's so important. But we do get to choose to make space for ourselves to come up for air. And that's why planned spontaneity and being able to just check in with your energy level and do something that you just feel like doing without having that feeling of guilt or should be doing something else is such a beautiful and supportive practice for many women. Here's a final idea I want to explore today in terms of how you can unlock your inner child and remember how to play as an adult. And that is looking for small ways to nurture your sense of wonder and appreciating simple joys in your day-to-day. Because it's not always easy to nurture this inner child that's inside of all of us when days are full. So start small. For example, maybe you choose a quirky mug for your morning coffee, or to nurture your sense of wonder, you decide to go for a short walk break and actually just appreciate your surroundings, the beautiful changing of the season. If you're experiencing that right now at the fall, observe the textures. Picture yourself almost in that childlike mode as if you're looking at nature for the first time. Give yourself these small chances to reset just by getting curious and looking at the beauty of the world through a childlike, more playful lens. So as we come to a close, I just want to acknowledge that I know there are serious challenges across the globe and in your communities and maybe even in your homes. I have a lot of things I'm passionate about or I want to be different in the world, but sometimes we get to put the serious stick down for a moment and remind ourselves that it's okay sometimes to keep it simple and enjoy our lives, knowing that when we do, we're better equipped to be creative problem solvers, which I think the world needs. So here are a handful of quick takeaways I want to make sure you have in mind as I close this episode. Number one, play is not just a nice to have for adults. Science shows that it also has a profound impact on our well-being. So see if you can give yourself even small pockets of time in the coming months for novel experiences and play without the need to create a masterpiece or win at a game. Leave the self-judgment, expectations, inner critic, and perfectionist tendencies at the door and focused on showing up for the joy of the process. Speaking of showing up for the joy of the process, play is something that really helps many women push pause on the planning and the doing and really just drop in and feel like you are living your life and like living in the moment. Sometimes we have to plan for spontaneity. It doesn't just happen. So if play feels a bit foreign to you in your life right now, try carving out intentional time for play. Find a time, put it on your calendar, and when the time comes, all you have to do is ask yourself, what sounds fun right now? And give yourself a chance to do something fun without the guilt or expectation. Play doesn't need a purpose beyond enjoyment. And finally, one thing that's really easy to practice if you want to nurture your inner child is just to remember to be on the lookout for simple joys and finding ways to bring wonder into your day-to-day life. I always end my episodes with a chance for reflection, so today I will leave you with this. How can I make play more integrated into my day-to-day life? And also, what actually sounds fun to me this week? Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Electric Ideas podcast. I hope this conversation resonated with you and that you can make some space for play in your life this week and going into the holiday season, because life is too short to take everything so seriously. I believe your inner child is always with you, waiting for you with some fun ideas up her sleeve. I hope you have an inspired week. I'm so glad you joined me today. If you're looking for more, feel free to connect with me on Instagram at @WhitneyWoman. And if you enjoyed the show, I invite you to support me by leaving a review or sharing it with a friend. Hope you have an inspired day.